Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is trying to deal with the fallout from her server scandal. It is hurting her presidential campaign, but did she actually break any laws? And if so, what kind of legal trouble could Hillary Clinton be in? Former United States Attorney General Mike Mukasey goes on the record, and I should also note a former federal judge. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. All
right. Does she have criminal problems? Is there a good reason to be suspicious she broke a law?
Well, there are two things that she did, each of which could possibly be a violation of two laws. One was putting the information on an unauthorized server. That could be either a violation of the statute that General Petraeus was prosecuted under, which is a misdemeanor, putting information in an unauthorized place, or it could be a violation of the Espionage Act, which requires only gross negligence to disclose information relating to the national defense.
The espionage one, which of course is the felony,
right.
And it says
it's a felony, right.
A felony,
right.
Allowing by means of gross negligence any document relating to the national defense to be removed from its proper place of custody or destroyed. That's quite a broad statute.
It's pretty broad.
And so that means, if let's say hypothetically, I worked for the government and I brought some information home in my briefcase and left it on the counter
that you knew was defensive.
That I knew that
right.
knew was classified.
Right.
Felony?
Could be.
In terms of Secretary Clinton, what would you expect the investigation to be?
I expect they'll be investigating both of those things. And I mean, what would I expect the prosecutive decision to be?
I mean, take me through this. I mean,
they're going to investigate to figure out what was there, what she knew about what was there. In the case of these two statutes, there's another whole set of two statutes that are potentially violated by her wiping the server. The one that relates to having custody of government information when you're the custodian, and she was the custodian of State Department documents, and obliterating them. That's a separate crime.
If it turns out those were all really 100% personal, would that be a crime?
100% personal? No.
Yeah. Okay. So we have to. It has to have a government document in there.
Correct.
To have that wiping
Correct.
be a problem.
Correct. It also has to have a government document in there to be a violation of the obstruction statute. But there, if it's even potentially relevant to an investigation, even if the investigation doesn't exist yet, that is a violation of the obstruction statute. And that potentially relevant part was put in the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which she voted for when she was in Congress.
Are you surprised that, I don't know who's advising her on this? I mean, how she even got into this mess?
I'm not clinically trained, so I can't really tell you that.
But it's just incredible that she's walked herself into this mess having a private server. I mean, it seems so basic that she should have known better. And wiping the server. I mean, you and I have both been in the courtroom a lot. The last thing you want to do is wipe something that looks like you're hiding something.
Of course, the prosecutor's going to be jumping up and down saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, why do you think she wiped it?" I mean, if they were addressing a jury, right? Why do you think she wiped it?
So who's going to? Will the Attorney General make the decision to think whether or not a grand jury be convened? Will it go that high?
Sure. It's now being handled, as I understand it, within the National Security Division. And the folks there were the same people who handled the investigation of General Petraeus. I know the Assistant AG in charge of the National Security Division, and he's as straight as the edge of that table over there. And he will take this where it goes.
Is General Petraeus a little different than that he took the information and gave it to someone else to write a book? Doesn't make any difference.
He wasn't charged with giving it to someone else. He was charged with putting it in a place where it didn't belong.
But he got a misdemeanor for that.
Correct. That is a misdemeanor.
That is a misdemeanor. But here, if she's got a classified document by gross negligence relating to the national defense to be removed from its proper place or custody or destroyed, that's a felony. That's a big difference.
Huge.
Big difference. So the decision probably be made by the Attorney General whether to convene a grand jury ultimately.
Right. They could convene a grand jury for the purpose of gathering evidence. Ultimately, the decision is going to be made as to whether there is a crime and whether to charge it.
Judge, thank you very much. Nice to see you, sir.
Good to be with you.